Hello there, welcome to the Football Bloc. My name is Brendan. Today we're going to look back at my predictions for the 2023 Gold Cup Final. So if that sounds interesting, let's hop right into it.
One step beyond.
So the 2023 Gold Cup has come to a close, and we have a winner. We have a champion here. Mexico has come away with their 9th Gold Cup title, solidifying their their hold on this tournament. They have owned this competition since the beginning. Like I said, their 9th title. They've won this more than any other team in history here. That lead has gone further with this title here after a 1-0 defeat over Panama in the final, which was a very close game. It was a very close game. It was a very interesting game. It was very, very back and forth. But let's look back, see what happened throughout the match. How did Mexico come away with this win? And let's look at my prediction and see how well I did. So let's first off look at the match. I'll point out some of the most important things, some of the most, relevant highlights. And going into the match, both the teams came out with, for the most part, their same lineups, predictable lineups, the players that have been starting for each of these teams going forward. Same kind of system, same formations. For example, for Mexico, Henry Martin starting on the bench, Santi Jimenez coming off the bench, which we'll come on to in a bit. But one of the things that I thought that is very evident of this Mexican team, and I said this in the prediction video, is they're unmatched in their intensity, in that no other team coming into this game has been able to match Mexico's intensity. And we saw that, for example, the first match of the tournament for Mexico against Honduras, where they obliterated Honduras 4-0, and they scored within, I believe it was 30 seconds or something like that, because immediately when the whistle was blown by the referee, they went 100 miles per hour in the other direction, trying to attack the team's goal. Now, sometimes, of course, they leave themselves wide open on defense, but this intensity, this pressure that they apply to the other team, it gets the morale on their side, it gets the crowd, because, obviously they're playing in the U.S., so there's thousands upon thousands of Mexican fans rooting for their team here. That was until here in this match. I think Panama is the only team thus far that we've seen this tournament that has been able to match Mexico's intensity, because they went toe-to-toe with them in that first half and throughout the entirety of the match, really, but specifically in that first half. Panama, if anything, in the first, I would say, 10 minutes, was the team that was more intense. Mexico was looking like they were rocking a bit. There was a little uncertainty in the back line, which hasn't really been that secure throughout the entirety of this tournament. Going forward, Panama won a free kick in the very beginning of the match. The ball went into the wall, but Barcenas hit the rebound. It went right to Ochoa in goal, but still was a very dangerous shot. Only a few minutes later, Ismael Diaz had a really good run and a shot that was off target. But you saw these chances building up for Panama, and no other team has taken the game to Mexico like the Panamanians did. And of course, you can argue no team had the ability to do so, because Panama has one of the more talented squads in this tournament. But Mexico was not going to go down without a fight, because they then, took it up to another level. The game was going back and forth, and one of the things that Mexico is amazing at, one thing that they excel at in this tournament, if you had to choose one, was counterattacks. So immediately after Panama would lose the ball in the attack, the ball would go immediately in the other direction. And Mexico had some really dangerous attacks as well in the first half. For example, there was a really good build-up play off a counterattack. Antuna had a shot that was saved by Mosquera in the goal for Panama. And then also, Mexico thought they took the lead. It was a ball over the top from Ochoa after a Panamanian attack got broken up. Beautiful ball over the top, and then some really dynamic build-up play between the front three that tore apart Panama's back line to shreds. They had no idea who they were covering. The guys were moving all across. The ball gets played out to the right, crossed into the middle. Easy finish for Henry Martin into the top corner, tapping into the top corner, but still, the crowd goes wild. And, this is a SoFi stadium, so there's like 70,000 people there. Obviously, majority are there in support of Mexico. But it turns out that initially when the ball came from Ochoa to the other attacking end of the field, that one of the players was offside. So Panama was able to escape with the lifeline there. But it was at this moment of the match where you felt that Mexico had the momentum on their side, because they had, just a few minutes later, a chance that really should have been a goal. The ball gets crossed into the middle. Henry Martin takes a shot. It's blocked by Mosquera. The rebound falls to Henry Martin again, and then he takes a kind of a snapshot at it. It's saved again by Mosquera, basically off the line. And at that moment, it looked like Panama was going to concede. It looked like Mexico was just knocking on the door. It was, eventually that they're going to score. But right before halftime, Panama had another free kick. The ball gets bounced around, and Godoy had a shot from relatively far out, but it missed the post by just, a few centimeters, a few inches. So, like I said, it was back and forth. Neither team had control over the first half, and then that continued into the second half. But I think even though no team had truly a dominant control over the match, I think Panama grew into it. And I think Mexico was starting to get jitters a little bit, because they're used to coming into every single game here and dominating the game and having total control and being comfortable and being calm. Panama didn't give them that luxury. So I think Panama was more calm in this more kind of a tactical game. They're trying to grind down their opponents, hold it out, wait for a late winner or even penalties. That's what they did with the U.S. They stuck it out. They were in it for the long game, where Mexico was trying to kill them off early, and it wasn't working. So, like I said, I think the Mexicans were, maybe getting a little nervous there, and Panama was getting better and better. They had some really good chances, and I think besides that shot from Martin that I talked about in the first half, the best chance of the entire match fell to Alberto Quintero, the veteran winger for Mexico, who's played for his country going back 10 years. He played in the 2013 Gold Cup final for Panama when they lost to the U.S. And it was yet another cross from the wings all the way to the center. Alberto Quintero came up. He was wide open. He did great to evade his marker. He had the entire goal to aim for, and he misses. He heads it wide. He tried to head it back where it came from into the far corner, which probably was the right decision, but he did not aim it, and it went wide. And just looking at that chance, that was a chance that Panama needed to score. If they had scored that, they would have been able to ride out that lead. Mexico probably at that point of the game would not have been able to come up with an answer to that. But unfortunately, Quintero missed. The ball bounced out of play, and it remained 0-0 on the scoreline. And then Mexico had some chances here and there as well, but none of them, in my opinion, were really troubling Mosquera in goal. A lot of them were, long shots from far out, or, took a wicked deflection or something like that. I mean, Mexico throughout the entirety of this match had much more shots than Panama, but in reality, only a few of them were really serious chances. A lot of them were, hopeful shots, or like I said, shots from far out of the box that would, sky over the net or anything like that. Barcenas, who I think you can make an argument has been the best player of this tournament, had a shot in the 87th minute. He got the ball. He was released into wide open space. He had like three options in front of him. He could have passed it out to the right, to the left, or even to the center maybe. He went for the long shot, and he tried to curl it into the top corner. He didn't really get the right amount of contact that he wanted onto it. It just skipped past the post, and it looked like for a moment that it was headed in, but unfortunately it skipped just wide. And you can see the look on his face. He realized that, for one, if he was going to shoot, he had to have at least gotten on target. And two, more importantly, he had three wide open options that he probably should have passed to, and that would have been a sure goal. And then at that point, that would have been a winner. Because at that point, the match was really grinding down. There's only a few moments left. Both teams are getting tired. Both teams are starting to lose their composure a little bit. Only a few minutes later, Panama gets an attack down the right flank. They miss a cross. It gets played out to the Mexican defenders. Ball over the top. Santi Jimenez, one-on-one with Harold Cummings. He dribbles past him, then he dribbles past the goalkeeper and side foots it with a very intelligent finish, by the way, into the far corner. And it is 1-0 Mexico, seemingly out of nowhere, and in my opinion, kind of against the run of play. But it was that counterattacking quality that Mexico has that I've been talking about. And like I said before, if there's one single quality that you had to choose that Mexico excels in, it's these counterattacks. That being said, I do think this goal is a little controversial because, as the ball was played out to Jimenez, he had a handful of Cummings' shirt. He was really tugging on his shirt, he had his arm all the way around him like that. I personally think it should have been called back for a foul, and the goal should not have stood. Now, you can call me biased or whatever, but I really, I need to look at the replay a few times more, I think, but I don't know. I'm really surprised that it didn't go to VAR because, there was some controversial referee decisions in this game. Another one involving Harold Cummings, who got a yellow card, and then he got a second yellow card at the beginning of the first half for a complete dive on Pineda, by the way. Pineda, had no contact at all. He just flopped on the floor. The referee gave gave Cummings a second yellow card, sent him off. But then he didn't look at the referee, he didn't look at VAR, but one of his linesmen apparently told him that it was a dive, so he nulled the yellow card, therefore nulling the red card. But the foul still went in Mexico's favor. It was still a free kick for Mexico, even though it should have went the other way. But, again, and then like I said before, there was the goal that was chalked off. And it was correctly chalked off, though, even though it was, controversial, obviously. So this goal, in my opinion, it's, maybe not the clearest foul in the world. It's not like he, completely took him out or something. He didn't elbow him in the face or something like that. But, he was tugging on his shirt. He was really pulling on his shirt. In my opinion, probably should have been called back. But regardless, Santi Jimenez scores. Besides the tugging on the shirt, it was a beautiful run. Amazing finish, extremely clinical, and he was coming off the bench. He came off the bench subbing in for Henry Martin, who, had an okay game, but Santi Jimenez coming off the bench, super sub here, and it was in the 87th minute, I believe, and at that point, there was virtually no chance left for Panama. They had, a few dangerous forays into, the attacking third, but that was pretty much it, and, it was a very close game. I don't think you could say that either team completely dominated the other. But, from my point of view as an American, as someone who didn't want to see Mexico win yet another Gold Cup, and someone who also, just from a neutral point of view, wanted to see Panama finally win something, this was heartbreaking from a Panamanian point of view. Especially when you talk about the history of this Panamanian side and how you look at the 2013 Gold Cup, and Panama was able to beat Mexico twice in that tournament. One of the few times that has ever happened in Gold Cup history. And then in 2015, Panama was about to make their second final in a row, and then they got robbed by Mexico. They got straight up robbed. There was the red card on Luis Tejada for a complete flop, and then there was the handball that was given for Ramon Torres for accidentally falling backwards on a ball, and that was given a penalty, and the offside goal as well to win it. There was the offside goal to win the penalty to win it in the extra time. That Panama got completely robbed in that game, and it was looking like this was going to be revenge. It would have been revenge about 8 years in the making, but still, Panama would have come away with the trophy. Also, they would have been the first team outside of Mexico, United States, and Canada to win the Gold Cup. Yes, Canada's in that conversation, but they only won one Gold Cup, and it was back in 2000. So Panama, really, they would have been up there in the glittering lights. They would have been, this would have been a historic run, and especially it would have been great for a guy like Quintero or a guy like Godoy, who was in the team back in 2013 when they lost in the final, and was in the team in 2015 when they got robbed by Mexico. But unfortunately, sometimes football can be a cruel sport, and Mexico come away with a winner. Now, in terms of the Mexican point of view, Does this paper over the cracks over all the craziness that has been happening behind the scenes? No, I don't think it does. This is obviously a very good step in the right direction. I think a lot of players here have seen their stock go exponentially up. For example, Santi Jimenez, he scored some great goals this tournament. Obviously the winner in the final. I think some other players have played really well. Luis Chavez, even a guy like Luis Romo, Pineda, you can say, even Antuna. Now, again, I'm not Mexican, but I know a ton of Mexican fans hate Antuna, or they love to hate him at least. I don't think he had that bad of a tournament. I think he did okay. So I think also Jimmy Lozano saw his stock increase as well. But that being said, you have to acknowledge the context. USA didn't bring their main team. The USA brought essentially a C squad. Canada didn't bring all their stars. Even Qatar brought a B squad. So Mexico winning this tournament, while important and while it is an achievement that should be celebrated, there still is some serious problems with this team. There is a serious problem with players, and not enough players playing in Europe in the top leagues. All the chaos behind the scenes with the personalities in the locker room, and also just the way the Mexican media is and how they treat their fans and how they treat the teams and the players and all that stuff. There is some serious stuff that if Mexico wants to have a good showing at whether it be the 2024 Copa America, or more importantly, the biggest prize of them all, the 2026 World Cup, there is some serious progress that has to be made. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of this final. Let me know what you thought of the tournament overall. The Gold Cup gets a lot of stick, and, you can call me biased because I am from North America, but I like watching the Gold Cup. I think it's a good tournament. Let me know what you think of the Gold Cup overall. What do you think of this Gold Cup in particular, 2023? Like, how do you think it stacks up against 2021 or 2019, if you even remember the ones before that? I personally think it was a pretty good Gold Cup overall. I think from a neutral point of view, it was probably more exciting than 2021, but obviously, as an American, I'm going to stick with 2021 probably as my favorite because, the way we're able to snatch victory at the death multiple times in a row. Let me know what you think of this Mexican team. Do you think that, this victory is enough? It proves that this team is heading in the right direction, or do you think, if anything, it could detract from the progress being made forward because it's going to give this illusion that everything's okay? And let me know what you think of Santi Jimenez. Is he the answer to all of Mexico's problems? And is he the best North American player right now? I mean, at least on form. Is he better than Alphonso Davies and Christian Pulisic, or I guess Balogun technically is North American now? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. But anyway, guys, my name is Brandon. This has been the Football Block. Hope you guys have a nice rest of your night.
One step beyond.